Welcome to The Uptime, the show for people whose job is so obtuse that explaining it to your grandparents counts as elder abuse. Are you traveling for work yet? Don't answer that. I'm a video and this is a monologue. I didn't do KubeCon this time, which felt like the safe choice, but now I fear I might never find out which coworkers are shorter than me. I don't really know what the future holds for conferences and meetups. What I do have strong opinions on is the future of observability. New Relic and the other big monitoring names have been going for years, but I don't think the market is particularly mature yet. We released the observability forecast that surveyed over 1,300 professionals in the tech sector about where observability was headed in the next year. First off, most developers don't use an observability tool at all. This is an indicator that the culture of DevOps really hasn't penetrated the tech sector. Most developers leave all concerns about how code is running in production to overworked and underpaid SREs. By the way, if you're an SRE and you show this video to your boss, they're legally required to give you a raise. Legally. I hid it in the terms of service. On the ops side, everyone agrees they need observability, but there's still tons of room for improvement. Most engineers report using more than one observability tool, and a significant percentage use more than 10. I cannot imagine this is a recipe for a good night's sleep. Looking through 10 different tools for logging, tracing, performance metrics, distributed tracing, auto mapping, public cloud monitoring, resource management, and compliance. I really can't emphasize this enough. Observability is supposed to give you a way to quickly understand what's going on with your system. If you're using more than one or two different tools, all the measurement in the world's not going to help you. The truth is hidden by way too much noise. This isn't a needle in a haystack. This is a wandering mendicant in Borges' Library of Babel. Faced with a honeycomb of identical rooms, each packed with books, reading for lifetimes and finding only a single page bearing a legible word. Seeking the truth on shelves stocked with an infinity of garbage. As Borges put it, la biblioteca perdurará, illuminada, solitaria, infinita, perfectamente inmóvil, armada de volúmenes preciosos, incorruptible, secreta. So some people aren't getting the benefit of observability, and those that are finding the solutions pretty fragmented. And while everybody and their brother has a plan for moving over onto Kubernetes clusters, less than half of all orgs have any implementation plan for observability. Look, I'm sorry for picking on Kubernetes. I love Kubernetes. It's the future. Maybe it's the future. Anyway, if you want to learn about the future of observability, check out the report linked in the show notes. Okay, so maturity with observability. Basically, the question is, are production systems monitored well enough that we generally understand problems quickly? I really do think the answer is no. The best operations engineers understand what to monitor, and they have all the permissions and power they need to make that monitoring happen. Which is to say that they know now to do observability, and they have all the tools. Now, I can't get you root on any of your team servers, but I can make sure that you know how to add the instrumentation that you need. New Relic Instant Observability is the way to get data reported in minutes from all across your stack. It's more than a quick start, because we've also got partners like Lacework with guides on how to get their data into New Relic, so the dreaded tab swapping can be a thing of the past. Instant Observability is out now. If you want to check it out, turn out all the lights in your bathroom, stare deep into the darkened mirror, and say metrics 3 times. I also put a link down in the show notes. So, I have a terrible sense of direction. The other day, my boyfriend and I were walking around San Francisco, and we had to walk from 8th and Market to 12th and Market. I checked the map 3 times during that walk, which was a straight line. When it comes to cloud applications or any kind of distributed computing, a reliance on mapping tools is actually an advantage. Most teams use a microservice architecture that can't really fit on a whiteboard. If you count the way that we use CI/CD with multiple versions of microservice code running simultaneously, a thoroughly modern engineering team will create architecture so complex that it can't readily be visualized. I got to see a really cool demo last week on the Nerdlog for an auto mapping that's not designed to show your entire stack. Instead, these maps are centered on a single entity, generally created for investigating a problem. What's cool is that these maps are limited in scope, showing you only the nodes that are connected to your affected entity. This part is cool too. You can scrub back and forth in time on the incident. Side note for UX nerds, these time signatures are preloaded, so you can check the performance for different hours without waiting for anything to load. That's good UX right there. Delicious UX. This is available now. You can find AutoMap in the Related Entities section in the slide-out panel when viewing an entity. If you've never traveled outside the US, you'd be interested to know that in a lot of places, Facebook is the internet. That Dynamite restaurant that serves homemade tortas probably doesn't have a website, but they do have a Facebook page, and they'll deliver if you hit them up on WhatsApp. The Facebook outage this month affected restaurants, small businesses, and even schools that rely on the platform to communicate. Okay, wait, side note. Can I approach the bench for just a minute? Don't make fun of engineers during an outage. Just don't do it. It's not classy, and we all run into these problems from time to time. Learn what you can from the retros, tweet hug ops, and move on. These are complex systems, and their failure modes are endless. Last week, my Twitter feed was taken over by the incomparable Maddie Stratton making endless memes about angle grinders. Is it true that Facebook engineers needed to cut into a hardware cage to get the site back up? I don't know for a fact, but it's a great story, isn't it? It's the stuff a Hollywood writer would dream up. Whatever the specifics of this incident, we can agree that network issues can make or break any online service. Last uptime, we talked about Kentic's integration with New Relic, adding really deep network insight to your New Relic dashboard. If you want to add even more network info, we've added our own network monitoring tools this month. Our tools can monitor both SNMP data from your network devices and show the IP traffic going to and from network interfaces in your on-premises network. Of course, grabbing the data is only half the story, and the part I really love is how our interface solves the unique challenge of displaying that data. You get the great view of operational groups here, displayed in the geometrically perfect hexagon observable in any beehive. But then there's this rad view that, if it's not already familiar to you, it should be soon. This shows anomalous behavior and encodes 3 dimensions: the direction of the anomaly, whether it's high or low, the severity of the anomaly, and the size of the entity when compared with everything else on the stack. Check the show notes to see how you can start sending that sweet network performance data to New Relic. So Puppet Labs' The State of DevOps report came out, and there's a lot in it that shouldn't surprise anyone who touches computers for a living. If both your hands go on the keyboard most of the time, you know that team culture matters quite a bit more than which software you're using. One thing that's kind of surprising to me about reading reports like this is that they're kind of into rating or ranking existing technology companies. Who's an industry leader? Who's in the middle? Who's a laggard? What defines a leader? It's not AI, it's not machine learning, or the blockchain, or Kubernetes, or Next.js. There's no language or framework that means you're going to deliver features faster. The differentiator is how well you empower your engineers. That includes the usual hand-wavy stuff about how people at market leaders feel empowered to bring up concerns, feel listened to, feel like they have the ability to contribute. That stuff matters, but it's ridiculously hard to quantify or make good, make better. But there's also some hard recommendations in there, among them having an internal API for services and provisioning. If the process of spinning up a new VM is self-service, then your engineers won't just feel empowered. The ability to create nodes on a network with the appropriate privileges matters a lot more than the quality of the snacks. Elisa, by far the smartest person in my department at NR, wrote a great précis of the report, and you can read the whole thing on our blog. Check out the link in the show notes. Okay, that is the uptime. I'll be back in a few weeks. Until then, come find me at reInvent. Look for me on Twitter at Cerberus_mom, on TikTok at CerberlessMom, where I make a lot of jokes about eggs. Be seeing you.